Hello and welcome to Bendy, a podcast about being flexible in all of the ways that means. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young and I'm one of your emotional, subliminal hosts. Joining me as always is our other emotional and subliminal host, Beth Martin. Beth, a pleasure as always. What's the crack?
Hi Andy. I always think of, anytime I hear the word subliminal, I just go right to Clockwork Orange. And
Yeah.
and then I flash to the Simpsons references, right? Where Bart's standing under the cupcakes, unable to grab them.
Yes!
So.
Whereas I immediately jump to Sublime, the band, and start singing.
And that basically tells a lot about
both of us.
Yes.
Yeah. So true.
So we had an election here. I don't know if anyone's really paying attention to that or not, but we voted. The people voted. Most of the people voted. And now it's 50% of the people voted. And we have a president coming in January. And so it's just been a lot of division in our country right now. And
I understand.
Yes. I'm not sure how much of it is affecting the rest of the world.
Oh, it is enormous. You need to understand that there are people who literally stay up overnight to watch the American election in this country to watch results. So
we don't do that.
No, I mean, for better or for worse, America has such an outsized influence on all the different countries in the world, so it is I think some people don't realize quite how much, so it's it is definitely something we are all kind of keeping an eye on. And it's also news, all the kind of news agencies just go nuts about it. They're just talking about it all the time, so yeah, fun. A real crazy door that we've all stepped through.
Right.
Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Let's see how the next few years go. So yeah, good luck and everything.
Yeah, the latest is, I'm not going to get too far into it, but
sure,
certain people feel like they're now given a certain amount of words that they can speak, and so it's all these dudes posting on Twitter your body, my choice.
Yeah,
so
I've heard this.
It's just kind of the there's some interesting folks coming out of the woodwork.
That's
so
sad that those guys feel empowered,
right.
To be perfectly honest with you.
But
yeah.
in more fun news, I'm now no longer recording and broadcasting out of the teddy bear den of doom.
And Barbie House.
Barbie Dream House.
Barbie Dream House headquarters.
I have my own. I literally have my own space. I have curtains like a grown up. I have a desk.
Ooh,
I know. And I can actually see the top of the desk and the floor, and it's just weird. I know.
See on the top of your desk.
And I never said anything, but I was just so jealous that you had your own room and your own space, and you just sit down and you press record, and you're not hauling all the shit around and setting. You saw me.
That's true.
You had to do it with me.
I had to do it.
Yeah. So now I just kind of move the microphone and I get up and I walk away.
That's good. Perfect.
Things magically edit themselves. It's amazing.
Yeah, they do, don't they? I know.
When you get a desk.
It's click of your fingers.
I feel like I should make a montage and a musical about this experience because it's been so great. Anyways, enough about me. How are you?
I'm good.
I mean, what's the crack?
What's crack? So there comes a time in an adult's life where the washing machine breaks down.
I thought you were going to say you get a Snuggie.
No.
Or a blanket.
I mean, I have a weighted blanket, so let's face it, it's not too far off. I've had that for years. So that was fun. So it's always it's one of these things you're God damn it, that's just, I don't need to spend money on a new washing machine, but it's all done now. It's in, it was paid for, it's sorted. But that was a fun weekend treat. I also I wasn't. This isn't on my list of things. I do have a list of stuff to tell you about. I have my readers. I have my readers.
They look great.
How did? Thank you.
They look great. They look like your sunglasses, but they're readers.
Yeah, and they've been great for like, because like I mentioned to you before, the book, A Prayer for One Meanie, that I've been reading, really small text, fantastic, and it's made me read it a lot more quickly. So it's been very nice. It's just not like I'm pacing through it, but like I was like squinting and stuff like that in certain words, and I was like, this is just not a fun experience. So yeah, it's been great.
Good. Welcome to the world of readers. Mike just got his progressives.
Oh
He
yeah.
hasn't gotten them yet, but like he had to go, he was like, oh, go to the eye doctor, and I was like, you need someone to drive you. I was like, they're gonna do like all the old people tests and stuff, you know, because he's like,
Oh
he's
yeah.
ancient. He's like 3 years older than me. So he was like, no, I'll be fine. I was like, no, like, so, but yeah, he got his, but he's got like, he calls it his Sherlock Holmes magnifying glass. And I walk in his office sometimes, and he's got his magnifying
Amazing,
glass, and he's
really?
reading through
Oh
documents. And I'm
shit.
like, dude, you gotta, it's just time. You can't haul that thing around with you.
Yeah. Have you got a photo of him doing that?
I'm pretty sure we need to make it happen.
Yeah, I think so. Just sneak in and just catch him
Yeah.
unawares.
So congratulations. It's great.
Thank you. Thank
it's
you.
like I'm doing all this painting now that I wasn't doing before just because my fucking readers.
Yeah. It's just, you know what was really good? A really kind of big plus that I hadn't considered was that I was like trimming my fingernails the other day, and I'm like, oh, I can see these much better now.
Yeah.
I can actually do a half decent job, you know? Yeah, so like, relatively uneventful time. Apart from that, I had a dog I was looking after who is a dog. I'd forgotten he was coming, but like, and sometimes when you're forgetting a dog's coming, it's like, oh god. But like, whenever he turned up, I was like, yes, he's like my favorite. He's such a sweetheart. And so I only had him overnight, but it was always it's always a joy to have him.
So great.
Um, the last thing, and I was going to talk to you about this off pod, but I feel like other people might be curious about it too. So there is a book I believe I told you about that I read a few years ago, and the book is called Say Nothing, and it's a kind of a historical account. It's written by a historian about the Troubles in Northern Ireland, predominantly about the kind of Catholic side of the Troubles. Like he even at the end says, like, this is only a fraction. I didn't even really touch in the kind of Protestant side, but it was a great read, and I really loved it because there was a lot of stuff that I really fully didn't understand about the situation over here. Anyway, there is a Hulu show coming out in like a few days.
I'm jazz handsing right now.
Yeah. So looks good. The reviews of it are good. So I think it might be worth it. So anybody who like, I have not seen this show, and I'm kind of wondering how they're going to make a fictional show out of the nature of the book. But if the reviews are good, if it might kind of, even the trailer that I've seen, it's definitely shot in Belfast, at least partially. So
does it have the same title as the book?
Yeah, it's called Say Nothing. Oh. And it's going, I'm pretty certain it's arriving. I think it's the 11th, which is, maybe today actually. It's definitely this week. So keep your eyes open for that, folks, if you want to learn about Northern Ireland maybe a wee bit more and the kind of situation here over the years. The other thing I need to say about that is when I think about that book and people ask me what the title is, I always want to say Don't Speak, which just is because I'm such a big No Doubt fan.
I was going to say.
Apparently.
Not one of the best either.
No. But there you go. And maybe more of a Gwen Stefani fan than a No Doubt fan, perhaps. But yeah, so looks interesting, and I think that might be worth checking out. Do you have any what's occurring?
I do. Someone was very excited that you dropped the Wimpy's Burger chain reference.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah. And then I was like, I forgot already what it was. So what's Wimpy's Burger?
Wimpy's Burger is just basically our sort of equivalent of McDonald's. Like, so for a while, whenever we didn't, and like I think they still exist. In fact, I know they still exist within the greater UK. But whenever we didn't have McDonald's and stuff like that, we would have had a Wimpy's. Yeah.
We have like Whataburger.
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of burgers. We have
like
so many burger chains.
A billion chains.
Wendy's,
Yeah, there's
and like Jack in the Box,
Carl's Jr.
which, yeah, there's a lot. Um, but what we don't have on the coast that I'm on is White Castle hamburgers. Have you ever
Yeah,
had White Castle?
I have. Oh,
Yeah.
go on. I should maybe tell you about my White Castle experience, actually.
Everybody has a White Castle experience. Not and like you can get them frozen here, but you can't get
Yes.
the full experience. But like they're like tiny little square hamburgers, and I remember my grandpa being like, these hamburgers they taste like sawdust, and I can't stop eating them.
It's an addictive
Yes,
quality to
yes.
them.
So what's your White Castle story?
Okay, so I used to work for Allstate. I believe I've told you this before. And for a chunk of time, me and a group of other guys, and it was mostly guys in our team, were sent over to Chicago for like 4 or 5 months, I'd say. And like me and two of my friends in particular were like, while we're in a place, we love to travel, we love to eat in different places, we love to do all sorts of different things. So we thought, shall we do a road trip to Detroit one weekend with no particular plans?
Who did you go see? It was
Kid Rock.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is like,
it's like he
yeah.
and Eminem are, they're big Detroiters, so.
Yeah, and I don't regret it. It was a good experience, and like he wasn't certainly as problematic as he is now. But like, you're never gonna debate whether Kid Rock's problematic, but I'm sticking with that word. And it was great. I had a great time, but while we were there, we really didn't fully understand the enormity of the situation in Detroit, as in like the city centre. Now this has changed as of now, but the city centre was really kind of dilapidated and run down. There was just nothing there basically, and we were just like, let's go and eat somewhere. And there was a White Castle in downtown Detroit that we were like, let's stop here and go in and have some food, right? And we went in. There was bulletproof glass above the counters. Like you couldn't get in through the counters at all. It was all kind of sealed off completely. There was like this wee old lady who really took a shine to me and was like talking to me. I think she wanted me to hug her and stuff like that. I really couldn't make her out. And I was just like, and I was kind of overwhelmed. We sat down at a table. A guy sat down in front of us with a briefcase, opened the briefcase. He had like watches and chains and stuff. And he's like, do you want to buy anything? And we were like, oh no, what have we done? So it was like kind of an intense experience, but we had our food and we got the hell out of there fast.
Actually, that happens. That's part of their chain.
That's one of the staff members is just like selling stuff to us.
You automatically, you sign up, they hire you, you get your briefcase.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. I like that. Okay, yeah. That makes a ton of sense.
So they hire Shyster okay. Staying out in the restaurant.
That makes me feel a lot more safe about our experience. I love it.
That's a good one.
So that was fun. It was fun.
You got any occurring?
Yeah. Okay. Right. So Beth, I need you to just play along here. Okay.
I love these.
Okay. Hey Beth.
Yes, Andy.
Do you like yoga?
Oh, I do. Yes.
Do you like dogs?
Yes, I do.
Well, oh boy, do I have an Instagram recommendation for you. Please follow up_dog_Andy for all your yoga and our dog needs. Thank you.
Yay! What is it?
So yeah,
what is it? One more time.
It's UpDogAndy, which is so I'm basically, just to let you know, folks, I am, as some of you do know, obviously I do a bit of yoga stuff, I do a bit of dog walking, I do a bit of like dog business, let's call it, and I'm kind of relaunching my business Instagram account. So it's UpDogAndy, it's up_dog_Andy. If you could give me a follow, I would certainly appreciate it.
He also posts photos of him and dogs.
Yeah. Once a week, you'll get a new dog pic. I mean, if that doesn't bring you along, I don't know what will.
Yeah, right.
So yeah. And I'm going to start putting up some more yoga content as well. But I feel like give the people what they want, which is more dogs.
Right.
And I have a lot of dog pics, don't worry. More than enough to do for many a year. So yeah. So that's all I have for what's occurring. Shall we move into our topic?
I think we're avoiding it, aren't we?
We are avoiding it. So it's Okay, let's just talk about it first because I feel like I'm going to jump in
Okay.
otherwise. So I have titled today's episode as S.A.D. with a dot in between them. Because that's not only is it, sad, it's also seasonal affectation disorder,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Which is kind of like what we're talking about, which is like, the changing of the seasons, how that affects people, how that affects us, how we feel about it, what we can do about it, those sorts of things. Because I know it is something that affects a lot of people, and I just, the past, I'd say, few years of my life, I have heard more people talking about it and talking about, uh, um, especially in this country, and I know you can relate from your time in Oregon, where the dark weather comes in and things like that. It's definitely something worth thinking about.
Yeah. I think, it's weird going from, I'm still not used to not having it get, like, it would be like my birthday in early October, and then like right after that, like winter would come. Not winter, but
Yeah,
like the rains, and then, daylight savings. So it gets darker earlier, much earlier. And like
yeah,
just the wet leaves and the
yeah.
mold,
I
and
was,
putting away all your summer clothes, and like just
yeah,
knowing that you have to hunker down.
I was raking wet leaves on the weekend as well. And I was like, oh, as if I couldn't feel a bit more depressed.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it even happened. We were at a yoga class, or I was with my sister at a yoga class on Sunday morning, and the yoga teacher was like, whenever the sun came out, she was like, "Yeah, yes, it's the sun, hooray!" Because we hadn't seen it all bloody week.
Yeah.
And see, once you feel it hitting your face after, you're like, I mean, I know a week doesn't sound that long. It is kind of like, oh my god, how I've missed you.
Yeah. And like,
So yeah,
it's interesting here where I live, in Southern California. Like, it doesn't look any different. Like, there's maybe two or three trees in the neighborhood that are, shedding their leaves, but the majority of them don't.
yeah,
So, and like, over the weekend, we had a big windstorm where, like, I don't know what it is in kilometers, but like we had 30-mile-an-hour winds, 35-mile-an-hour
okay,
winds. And so, like, all the leaves that were going to come off the trees came off the trees, you know, and it's bad enough for fire danger that sometimes they'll shut the grid off. So they'll shut your power off because
oh,
they don't want a telephone pole. Like, the fire
yeah,
danger is so high that they're worried
yes,
that, the winds then, if something happens, the winds will blow it. And when they're when they're that strong, it's like that fire just goes. And actually, north of us about 2 hours is like Ventura County, and they had,
mm-hmm.
I think, 120 houses burned down over the weekend. So it's like that's fall here.
It, it's so nuts. Like, one of the things that surprised me when I was out visiting Beth was that like there were signs everywhere for the kind of degree of danger from forest fires, and like it never went anything under a low. It was either at low or extreme. I
Yeah,
think was the highest. Isn't
yeah.
that right?
So we're at extreme right now because of the wind.
Yeah,
So that's interesting. But I'm
yeah,
also like, I don't know, like, I do wake up and look at the sky, and I'm like, thank God it's blue. Like, it feels so
yeah,
good just to wake up. But I'm still, and like, I have the same question for you. Like, how are you doing right now? And like, I'm not doing well right now. And I wonder if it's
yeah,
just because, like, you know, the seasonality of things. And like, even though I don't live in a place that has seasons necessarily, it's just part of like our genetics, you know?
yeah. That's
Because
true.
like, I have seasonal depression right now for sure, and it's 80 degrees and sunny. So
That's interesting.
yeah,
And like, because it was kind of like and it was last Friday. I was having a conversation with somebody, and I'd said that another friend had reached out and asked, "How are you doing? How's the black dog?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I get depressed sometimes because like." I feel like whenever I am in the good reality, it feels like that's the only reality. But whenever but it's the opposite problem whenever I'm in a kind of negative space where it feels like this is all there is and this is all there ever has been. I had, I think, just over a month from my trip over to see you guys where I was just like, great. I was feeling great. I was definitely coasting off a wee bit of that energy of just being away. I was seeing friends. But then I just hit it. Like I felt it coming too. And I even talked to my friend. I didn't feel it then, but the next day I just felt, oh, it's coming,
Yeah.
and it just hit in, and it has been. It was cold as soon as I came back. It really was. It hasn't got super cold as yet. It's only really happened over the past. Today actually was the worst day for it, but um, certainly the grey skies have been here. I have been struggling with that. I've got to say, like I
And it's like always gray, right? When you say gray, like it
yes,
doesn't necessarily rain, but you just have that like high, like the clouds are really high up in the sky there,
yeah, it's like
but it's just like it's so
not
close to the sun yet so gray. So it's
yes,
this
and like
weird dimension. Like I don't know how to
it
explain it.
is. And it's just a blanket of clouds, and you even come. I think you come to like in this country, be able to read the clouds and kind of go, okay, rain's coming soon, or it because they'll be darker or they'll just be angrier looking, and but like there's certain set of clouds you're like, yeah, this is just cloudy today, and that's all it's gonna be. But like we do get streaks. We get streaks like maybe a few days or maybe a week where there isn't much clouds and we get that winter sun, which is really lovely. I really love being out in a crisp autumn day in the kind of autumn sun. But like in the lead up to this, I think when I came back, it's interesting because whenever I'm in a good mental place, I tend to have like clear outs. So I did like I think I talked to you before. I had like a clothing clear out, I had a book clear out, I cleared out my room in a big way, and I know I have space for those things whenever I'm on the upswing, whereas I don't really a lot of the times when I'm on the downswing. Um, so yeah, it's just about kind of noticing those signs. But one of the things I did in the upswing to kind of prep me for this was I was like, okay, I know this is probably coming for me. So I was like, let me start taking vitamin D tablets
Yeah.
and let me start doing a few things that can prepare for this. So I have, and I've taken vitamin D tablets over the past 2 weeks now. But like, that was before I started, sliding down into this place again. So I don't know how effective they have or are going to be, but I'm gonna keep it with it and see if it makes a difference.
I'm sure. I'm sure it will. I think you need to take like when your immune system is compromised, you need to take like 10,000 IUs. But like I take
Yeah,
5,000 IUs, and I live in California.
yeah.
And then to actually learn this the other day, you need to take vitamin K for your body to really absorb the vitamin D.
Oh
So if you're
yes.
noticing that like maybe it's not hitting you right, try to order some vitamin K and take that as well.
Okay.
Because
I
can't be just one thing. It's got to be like four.
I know it's not. I know.
And
But I
insurance
think
doesn't cover that shit.
yeah. I, I'm just aware. No, God, no. I'm just kind of aware that, like, and I'm sure I've discussed it on here. Like the past few post Christmas seasons for me have been really tough. I'd say I've had 3 or 4 months of really kind of poor mental health, and I really don't want that to happen again if I can avoid it. So I'm trying to make a lot of effort to kind of head that off the past. Um, and I think it is both the nature of the weather, the time of year, how cold it is, but it's also I find the weight of Christmas really kind of heavy, and I kind of feel, um, you know, I feel much more lonely around Christmas than I do
The other,
any other kind of time of the year.
yeah. Normally, like this is going to be our first Christmas home,
Yeah,
and I don't. Mike's parents are going to
yeah, that's
come,
true.
but like I don't know. And like for us, Christmas is like we open presents, we have cake, we have bûche de Noël, and then we go to the beach and that's it, right?
Yep.
It's not like a whole thing. So I don't know. I hate Christmas.
Yeah. Like,
I feel like a Scrooge.
I went, I've went through periods in my life where I've loved it, and I
Yeah.
think I still love the the lead up to Christmas, and I'm still quite looking forward to that. This year I've got like a lot of things lined up with people, um, and I'm looking forward to that. As I say, and also I'm planning a trip. I've booked a trip with my friend between Christmas and New Year's, or actually I'm going to stay a bit longer past New Year's. Um, because I find that period particularly rough. So it's like if I'm with my friend, I'm going to like stay with the body. We're going to see other friends of ours. It's just I'm just really looking forward to being in their company for a while. So I think that'll help massively. But I just need to. Like, I did the same thing last year, but I need to I don't know.
Pl- pl-
Find something lasting from that.
yeah, and I think just in terms of planning things out, knowing you don't want it, like knowing. I think the word triggered is being overused, but like
Yes.
knowing the things that kind of like will get you down,
Yeah.
being alone,
Yeah.
doing too many doggy overnights.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
am.
being
Only got
being
one
stuck in your
more.
house,
Oh,
not being
two more.
active, like
Yes.
what these things are. So, like right now, I'm kind of like my depression's not good. But like I was on the horn with my therapist a couple days ago, and like this happened, and it's like all these things that normally, like if my body was normal, would not affect me, like it all does. So like my emotional health translates to my physical health in a way that's
Yep.
really annoying and frustrating. And like now I'm in a fibromyalgia flare, so my whole body hurts, and then I can't sleep, and I'm just in this like pain, insomnia, depression
Yeah.
cycle. And I know, I have certain tools to sort of get myself out of it, but it's like, and when I'm out of it, like you explained it earlier, like pretty well, but like when you're in it, it's something, and when you're out of it, it's nothing. And when you're,
Yeah.
it's like, but I think it goes both ways. Like I
Yeah.
sometimes feel like when I'm in it, like I'm nothing.
I do.
So, so yeah, I'm in more therapy. I have a choice, right? I have choices. I know the things that will get me out of this. It's frustrating the time that it takes to get out of this, but it's like, um, you know,
You're not.
my only option is to get out of this. So,
Yeah. And you're acknowledging it and you're working
mm-hmm,
on it,
mm-hmm.
which is a huge step. And like I think it's a step a lot of people struggle to even make, like or to see that and go, okay, what am I, what am I doing here? How's this affecting me? What can I do about it? Because to say, I think a lot of people maybe deal with it in much more uh, negative, not negative to me, a poor choice of words, but self-sabotaging ways that kind of hurt them and others, and I but it's okay. I think maybe more of acknowledgement of the fact that like I think a lot more people than would maybe let on feel something like this at this time of
Yeah.
year, and kind of like maybe recognizing that could really kind of help all of us.
I also think that having holidays at the end of the year, like a lot of times, what if we didn't have those, right? I think we've talked about this a little
Yeah.
bit. Like, would we celebrate Christmas if we didn't have to?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it gives us something to do. It gives them some. It's an activity that's kind of like built
It's
in.
true.
And I think holidays, not just Christmas, obviously, there are many end of year holidays. Celebrating the shift to a new year.
Yeah.
So I think that you know I complain about it, but at the same time, it's like a good thing, right?
Yes. I think it's a necessary sort of survival tool for this
Yeah.
season,
Yes, I
right?
think that's
Um,
why they're
because like
there.
yeah, and I think that, but like, and I think there's room for both of those things. We always talk about that holding like two conflicting concepts, and I think it's just important not to. And I do know people who do this, and they are trying to help, where they're like, "It's Christmas, you should be happy," and I'm like, "Yeah, fuck off." I don't say it quite that way, but that's kind of the intent of what I'm
Yep.
saying. Because it's like, yeah, I mean, that just kind of makes me feel more shit. It's like, or I'm the problem sort of thing. So it's just about finding some balance with that.
Totally. Totally. So I guess like, what is your favorite season?
Um, Probably spring.
Has it always been spring, like when you were a kid?
Probably summer when I was a kid. I used to quite like summer holidays and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and there was that big chunk of time that you got off, and all the sort of things you did then. But I think as I've gotten older, I really come to appreciate spring because, like, spring also kind of covers my birthday and stuff like that. So it's like it's just been a nice, like, and I really kind of, and I feel like our springs tend to be quite, at least, well, tend to be nice as it ever gets here. We tend to have nice-ish springs, and I quite like those. So yeah, I don't think I could put my finger on why exactly that's the case, but that's the one that I'm feeling most connected to.
Hmm.
What about you?
I think right now mine is actually like, even though I'm like feeling it, I love fall here. It used to be
Yeah.
my least favorite season, but like it gets cold and it's really because I'm in the high desert, so it's like cold in the morning and then
Yep.
nice during the day. And so like in the morning, walking out with my cup of coffee and just like feeling the air and seeing like a clear sky and like the sun peeks up over the mountain. It's nice. Um,
I, yeah.
the winds
I,
come and I like that we get the Santa Ana winds that come up the valley,
yes.
and I love it all. I love it all.
I like I do, and I think that is one of the things. It's one of the reasons why I need to like not walk around with headphones quite as much. It's like there's certain tactile things that I really kind of love, or I mean, to just sense based things that I love that are part of the season. Like you say, all the stuff you were talking about there. Like I really kind of love a kind of nice fresh coating of snow and taking Sasha out and just like crunching through the snow together. It's just lovely. But all too often that's not the reality of snow. Instead, it's like a mixture of snow and rain, and it's all slushy and it hardens and it forms ice and you slip everywhere and it's actually a nightmare. So, but I think all seasons bring things like that as well. Like we fall right now, we have such lovely leaf fall and things like that, and we're filled, lots of yellows and oranges and browns and stuff, and it's just really nice. It's just really nice going through the area that I took you through when you were over staying is covered in leaves right
Hmm.
now, and it's just beautiful. I'll send you a picture actually if you want to put it up because what the dog that I was walking, I've got a picture of those two playing in the leaves, and it's just like so nice.
Yes, please do. Yeah, nothing's changed here. I guess like springtime, it is nice here because we do get like super blooms, they call them, where
Uh
like the
huh.
whole hillside will become like purple
Oh,
or orange.
I love that.
And about like these are like mountains, not just
Mm-hmm.
hillsides, but um so I like looked into like seasons and their meaning. So
Mm-hmm.
fall, we're sensing a shift in your, so it says basically you're sensing a shift in your life and preparing for what's to come. Early winter, we retreat, we reflect, we reconnect with our deep nature. Winter solstice, catching sparks of hope in the darkness.
Ooh,
That
exotic.
comes with a box of tissues.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, it's
Uh,
a tiny spark in
right.
this void of
All
black.
right. And then late winter, exploring and experimenting to firm up your vision for the future. And I get
Okay.
it, right? It's like this, like, what do we learn from the seasons? And it's like, okay, it's like the the death and rebirth cycle.
Yeah.
Unless, what is it, annual and perennial, which is the one that lives year round.
Oh God.
It's like opposite, right?
Annual, I believe. Yes, I
I
think
don't
so.
remember. Look in the
Annual.
Mind Garden. What happened to
Okay, I'm
Doug, our
on. I'm on.
researcher?
I know. God damn it, Doug. I had seen him for weeks, and he's still taking a
I
paycheck.
know.
Son of a bitch. Uh,
But like, not only that, it's like I was looking at the cycle, and it was through some science like hippie website, but it looked like the golden mean or whatever, that Fibonacci
yeah.
sequence, like that also is part of the seasons.
Yeah.
So it's all connected, man.
So I figured it out.
Okay.
Annual plants live for one growing season,
Right.
while perennials live for multiple growing seasons. So they'll lose their leaves, or they'll go into like a hibernation form and then come back in future years.
So I think that like that is also a human experience
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
we are all having.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
And I
So
think
intense, man.
I think it is intense. But I think part of it is like recognizing that it's happening and like doing the
Yeah.
annoying thing where like I recognize it, I see it, I'm observing myself like having this experience, and
Yes.
and then you can put some things into action and like help yourself along
Yeah.
the way.
Uh, or alternatively, just take the drink, just become a raging alcoholic. I'm joking. I'm not advocating that.
It's the
Don't do
holidays.
that.
There's a drink
It
for
is the holidays.
everything.
It is. It's
Is
prosecco
eggnog
o'clock.
a thing for you guys?
Not really. No.
Okay.
I don't. I feel like I've encountered it a few times here, but by and large, it is not. I've always been kind of curious about
Have you
it
ever had it?
because no, I don't
Oh,
think I
we can
have.
make it from scratch for you sometimes. It's really like it's weird. It's like nutmeg and
Like,
egg and milk
yeah,
and cinnamon.
is there alcohol in it?
That's for adults. Yeah, that's what people
Yeah.
put
Okay.
like.
Okay.
I think
Whiskey or
rum.
rum? Okay. Yeah, I can see rum
Yep.
working on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Because
definitely
I
a
think
thing.
we have these things called like egg custards that are like a kind of sweet treat that I think is a similar sort of mixture, except it's like served like a pastry cup and hardened and like baked.
Okay.
So yeah,
It's.
that's it. Yeah.
I mean, the whole title is disgusting, but you do want
Yeah, it
some
is.
eggnog? Like, why? Sure.
No.
Sure do.
No.
So
Right.
how do you
Mhm.
experience the changing of the seasons? Are you like, woohoo?
Um, I truly okay. So most of my filter for seasons is based on whether I can wear shorts or not,
I see
right? Because I
that.
love wearing shorts.
Yes, you do.
I guess I do. So
Even
like
if you have to wear leggings underneath.
yeah, even if it means I don't get to go on nights out, I wear shorts. Oh, we talked about that story, didn't we? Oh, yeah, we
No.
did. We did. I think we did. So like basically,
You
whenever I was in
made a
Mexico, I was
choice
no, when I was
Hmm.
so when I went to Mexico,
and you only
I
brought
was going to
shorts
go on
and
one of
there
the
was a dress code.
yeah. There was somehow I was like, okay, everybody, get ready, guys. You need to wear long trousers. It's like for a pub crawl, okay. And I had brought no long trousers with me at all. I just hadn't. It's like why would I bother? So yeah. So like one of the things I really loved about my time in Korea and Taiwan is how like I could basically wear shorts, especially in Taiwan for about 10 months out of the year.
Wow.
It was so good.
Wow.
So yeah, I you know, it's definitely temperature based for me. I just kind of love also because I and the job that I've chosen in recent years, and obviously I've had Sasha for as long as I've had, I am always
Yeah.
outdoors. So it's just that's kind of the lens through with which I see it. It's easier to be out in the summer and in the spring, to an extent the fall, but like winter, just it's such a roll of the dice in terms of it can be really bad rain, it could be snowing, it can be really cold, or it can be icy. So I think it's through that lens, how easy it is to kind of navigate the outdoors is how I kind of notice those changes.
It's interesting. I remember before I got long COVID, Like I was just like, all right, like, and we got a dog, and I was like, all right, I gotta walk the dog every day, no matter what. And
Yeah.
so I'd never really like forced myself to go for a walk in the wintertime, but it was like I wore my dry suit undergarment for
Yeah.
diving, and then like a total like rain gear, and I was like, dog, you're gonna get wet, and like you have to walk in the wet leaves, and like sorry that you're in the gutter and it's really full. And like,
When the dog's like, yeah,
yeah,
got
and
her.
she was like, no, it's good. Yeah,
Really? Did
she
she not like
no.
it?
So then she was like running in the middle of the road. Anyways, so but like forcing myself to like be outside, and I did that
Yeah.
for 6 months probably, because we got her in August of 2019, and then I
Mm-hmm.
got sick in 2020. But it was like I had to do it, and actually it made it far less uh, of an upsetting time of year to be outside
Yeah.
in it, which I
Mm-hmm.
didn't anticipate. So that would be like something for people that aren't mobility challenged, like just get outside for like
Yeah.
10-minute walk every day if you can, and that will change your attitude a lot.
It definitely helps.
Not that you have an
Um,
attitude, but you know what I mean.
yeah. It depends. I just bury it down.
Right.
Um, yeah, funny. I was bought a dry robe um, earlier on this year, but just as it was coming into the summer, and this is my first winter with it, and it has already been incredibly
What the
valuable. You know, really.
fuck is a dry robe?
Okay, so a dry robe is kind
It's
of
like a
like
raincoat?
yes, but it has a fluffy inside. It's kind of designed for people who maybe go because like cold water swimming's a big thing over
Uh-huh.
here. So people
Put that big like Olympic coat.
yes,
Okay.
and it's huge. Like it goes down. It's below my knees. It's got a hood. It like zips all the way up to like just your mouth essentially. It's I like see for days when I have for days whenever I have like I don't know what the weather's going to be like. Having that in the car is just such an amazing catch-all to be like, okay, I am
Ready for
nothing's touching
all
me.
the things.
My shoes will maybe be soaked, but apart from that, it's all good. Are you hearing those dudes?
No.
Okay,
It might
sorry.
wait. That?
No, it's people pinging me on something, but I'm gonna deal with it now. Okay,
Okay.
I'm here. I'm
Okay.
here.
You can do as you need. Okay, so what is it that you find like easier about embracing certain seasons?
Um, that's a good question.
Think.
I like I love social stuff and I love having an excuse to do things with friends. Um, so like they're all and I find that one of the good things about winter months or the colder months is that it suits a lot of the hobbies I enjoy, so board games and things like that. So me being sort of like a ranger that I am, I'm like, okay, so it's winter time, organize those sorts of things, those indoor things, both not going out and then doing the indoor things, if that makes
Yep.
sense, but also doing things in my own home. So if like party lined up, I've got a board game night lined up in the next few weeks. Whereas over the summer and things like that, organizing trips with people, so like I try to like just cater it based on what the situation is.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And it's like it's action, which you definitely
Yes,
like that.
I thrive
You
on.
do. You do. I think for me it's more visual probably.
Yeah.
It's like the things that like okay, like things are blooming, so that means like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or all the leaves are falling in the pool. I'm not going to complain
Yes.
about it cuz
No.
Mike does all
No.
that shit. But but like yeah, the super blooms. And I'm not saying I don't walk around with my iPods in my ears like 90% of the
Sure.
time. Um, but I will take 30 seconds and like go outside and be like, this is nice. And
Yeah.
sniff that cold air and then walk inside and like put my earbuds back in or whatever. Um, so I guess, yeah, that's like just 30 seconds if you can.
Yeah.
Don't
It makes
overdo
all the
it and be
difference.
like, I have to be in
No.
my own head for 45 minutes on this walk without any, like,
Yeah.
I would not go for a walk if I didn't have iPads.
Yeah.
Be in my own
Yeah.
brain for that amount of time. It's insane.
Yeah. My earbuds broke recently, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I do have another set of headphones, but they're massive, and they're going to do the job until I can get a new pair. But like I remember whenever one of the things my therapist talked about was just like how do you walk with your dog every day, and I'm like, yeah, and she goes like, oh, you know, how do you walk? And I'm like, well, put my headphones in. And she goes, well, here's what you need to do. And I'm like, oh no. And I'm like, it's just like I take at least one walk a week without them, and I was doing it okay for a while, and then it was just like, no, this isn't
5 minutes,
working for
like
me
three
anymore.
minutes, pause it for 30 seconds. Like, don't over, like, it's
I
the, it's
yeah
the
I
people that slash and burn. It's like,
yes
we have,
I
we have
like,
to
and
be in our
I've
own
had some.
heads.
Yes, I I've had some, like I've had some success with that, and sometimes like you know I run out of charge with my headphones or whatever, and like I haven't had that, and I don't have that, and it's like it's okay, but I also hate not having the option one way or another. And I have noticed after an hour of walking, I will near the end of the walk think about how my thoughts have been and where I'm at currently, and it's nearly always in a negative space, and I'm like, God fucking damn it! So
Interesting.
I can't be trusted to be thinking my own thoughts. To be honest
That's,
with you,
yeah, same,
so yeah,
same.
yeah.
Um, so what does seasonal change mean to you? Like, what do you learn from it, I guess?
Um, I guess it has been an ongoing experience in that regard. In that I suppose it's how your body reacts. Like I've certainly noticed that, and certainly as I get older, and like certain injuries and stuff I have, how they affect you depending on
Yeah.
the seasons and stuff. That's definitely a part of it. But it's also kind of like I noticed through time how you know I remember loving this time of year, and it took me to be like an adult, well, very young kid of course, but then I kind of was jaded, as a very cool
Right.
teenager. But then I loved it again in my 20s, and now I'm back in a more of a negative place with it all. And I suppose it's just about learning to kind of see that these things aren't a fixed space or a fixed kind of experience, and just kind of like trying to ride the waves of it, noticing the changes within you, without you, and kind of what you can do to kind of help you navigate that, I guess.
Yeah. I think just to like jump off of that, I think it's like change is inevitable, and like managing change is one of the hardest things to do as a human being.
Yes,
So it's like it puts it into practice whether or not you want to practice it at all. It's like you have
it's
to,
true.
right? You have to put on warmer clothes and not walk
Yeah.
around in shorts unless you're Andy, right?
Boo.
But like it's forced change, and
Yeah.
that can be painful, and that can not feel good, and that can be annoying, and that can be, all the things. But it can also be beautiful
Yeah.
or
Like,
something.
or something. But I think that, like, I don't think I have ever met a person who doesn't hate change to some sort of degree, right? And it's completely unavoidable,
Right.
and
I always go back to like the deathbed, right? You're
yeah.
like, I'm so grateful for all that change that happened in my life.
Yes, it's true. I
No
know.
one's gonna say that.
No, absolutely not. But it's so it's just about thinking about that. It's just thinking about that, I think, more than anything. But yeah, um, I'm sure I had another thing to say, but it's gone. It'll maybe come back to me. Do you have any other kind of thoughts or
Mm,
questions on that?
I think just going back to like coping strategies, like, sometimes I'll make like a short term, like 3 month goal of like, okay, in the next 3 months, maybe I want to focus on, I'd like to read a book. Like that would be a good,
Yeah.
something that's like, for me, I'm not as social as you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that said, like, I have children, and so like that's I get,
Yeah.
there's a lot of tiny expectations. Um,
Yes.
so, like tiny goal setting, also not being hard on myself for like how I'm
Yeah.
feeling, which is easier said than done.
True.
But really like working, being like, okay, I don't feel good, but that doesn't mean X, Y, and Z. You're just not feeling good, and like that's what it is. Um, and like I think for me, like just being aware, conscious observation, and kind of making it a habit to notice the little changes that happen outside,
Yeah.
you know, because
No, that's good.
if you see it happening outside your body and outside your life, like it isn't as ugly and scary.
Yeah, it's so true.
Unless it's like a forest fire, but
Yeah, that's
or a
very true.
hurricane.
Yeah, yeah. Or some sort of,
Right.
yeah,
Like natural
catastrophic event.
natural all in the right time kind of changes.
Yeah. What do they call them? Acts of God, isn't that?
Uh-huh.
Isn't that it?
Uh-huh.
Acts of God
Uh-huh.
is the general sort of weather phenomenon.
For
Yeah, I like
insurance
that. It's a good way of
companies.
looking at it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh no, well this isn't technically an act
I
of God.
know.
We worship the Greek gods here. They actually control the
Right.
weather. So technically, yeah.
Was the
Fun.
pandemic an act of God?
This is true. I probably the sneaky
Yeah, I
bastard
know,
that he
right?
is. But yeah, I think that's good. I think that's a good sort of chat and sort of way to kind of maybe cap that off.
Yeah, I'm done.
Um,
I'm done.
yeah, I don't know if I do have any other thoughts on it. So yeah, that'll be good. Okay. In that case, shall we get into our favorite bit, which is oh no, okay, it's all right. I nearly had a tech disaster there, but we're all good. Okay, so shall we get into our favorite section, which is what's been bringing you joy this
Yes.
week?
Okay, I can't remember when I watched this. Had I watched The Substance but when we talked last?
No.
Okay. So I watched it.
How did you find it?
I liked it.
It's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like the way it was kind of billed was like campy comedic,
Sure.
and I didn't really see the comedy in it.
Yep.
I wasn't really laughing, but it was
No, I
like
can understand
it
that.
was like it grabs you and pulls you in and just like
I think like the last 20 minutes are manic,
yeah.
like in a kind of comedy way, and like there's like I think we cannot talk about the last 20 minutes in
No.
particular because it's the
Yeah,
wildest
it's like
part of the movie.
it is. It's like so out there. It's kind of like The Boys, where you're just like, oh my god, like did that gross thing just
Yep.
happen? Yes, of course it did.
Mm-hmm.
So, and obviously, like I get the messaging behind the movie, and I appreciated
Mm-hmm.
it for sure. I thought the casting was really good.
Yep.
I thought Demi Moore,
Yep.
did a really really good job, and so
Yeah,
did
she's fantastic.
Margot Qualley.
Margaret Qualley,
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I saw her being interviewed, and she was like, I've done like 3 films this year, and not one of them could I really let any of my family see because it was like she did 2 of Yorgos Lanthimos films, Poor Things, Kinds of Kindness.
I saw Kinds of Kindness too.
Oh, how did you find that?
You know,
It's a harder. It's a harder.
yeah, it's definitely like I think sometimes directors do movies for themselves
Yes.
because it's something that they want to. There's something that they want to explore, and they want to do it.
Yes.
And it's different than like. I think certain things could like you could always try and throw it on a stage and make it a play, and maybe that would have been a better play than movie. Like that's how it kind of read to me or felt.
Yeah.
It felt like it could have been a stage piece. But I just love Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
And like
he's so good.
he was these characters that like you're just like it was like I love him and all of the things that he does because he plays the part so well. And the characters that he is in this made me so freaking uncomfortable.
Yeah. I really kind of love the comedy elements of kinds of kindness, like, and he like him as like almost a cult leadery type thing when like who wants to have sex with me now and all this sort of thing. It was great.
Yes.
And the other bit that I really loved was whenever they just like I don't know have an offhand comment about like a dog sitcom or so, I can't fucking remember. And one of the end credit sequences, one of the story is just dogs living like in a, like a sitcom, sort of like a dog world, like, you know, like buying a house and like going driving, like sailing, you know, sailing a speedboat and things like that. Yep. It really tickled me.
Yep. And then you see it.
So yeah, yeah, then you see it. It's so good. So yeah, they're both, you know, Substance and like I really, really enjoyed it. I actually saw Heretic.
Oh,
which was
okay. I've been reading about it
enjoyable.
and like obsessing over Hugh Grant.
Yeah, he's very good in it, and it's an interesting idea. I think like so many films I've seen recently, maybe the last like 20 minutes or so, you know, I think it's one of the hardest things to do in making a film is having a satisfying ending, and I think it struggles with that a wee bit, but I still really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. But yeah, I'm glad you saw The Substance. Yeah, it's a trip. There's not much else like it. Yeah, I love it. I actually saw, so Beth, as while you're watching your filth, I went to see The Wild Robot at the weekend.
Did you cry?
Of course I cried.
I don't know what it's about, but I'm assuming the robot dies or the dog dies.
No, so there's no dog, thankfully. It's based on a children's book, but basically there's this robot who gets washed ashore on this island, and the island has all these different animals on it, and he ends up get involved in an accident that crushes kills this goose and kills or crushes her eggs apart from one egg. He feels responsible, or the robot, sorry, not he, the robot feels responsible for the egg and kind of starts to raise it, and that's kind of the story, but it was lovely, yeah.
Does anybody die?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'll say that it's more, people die, but it's not like, you know, Bambi's mother dying, that sort of thing. It's not that sort of, it's not like that, but
it's not like
there is
traumatic.
Definitely a sense, no, there is definitely a sense of peril, and I think that it actually ends up in quite a sweet note. I mean, obviously there's, you know, sad bits, but it ends up in quite a lovely place. So I really enjoyed that. I've also been really enjoying, I don't know how I got this. This is something I was talking to Beth about before the podcast. But I've been watching a lot of like Parks and Recreation clips, and like I really love that show, and I watched it all and I loved it. And I think in recent years I've been like, no, I don't know how good it was, but just watching some of the clips, I'm reminded of how funny it is and how good it was in a lot of places. But I watched a John Ralphio Supercut, and one of the lines he used that made me laugh so hard was because it just went in a completely different direction than I thought it was going to. Have you seen Parks and Recreation?
I've watched like 3 episodes.
Okay.
Like I tried it with Mike, and he was like, eh. So I was like, oh, I'll watch it by myself, but I never came back to it. But they all went out and became like amazing actors, and
exactly. Yeah. It's so much talent in there.
I love them all.
But John Ralphio is like this kind of asshole, kind of scumbag who's a friend of like Aziz Ansari's character, and he's just like, he's the pits. He's like, I'm trying to think somebody to compare him to. It doesn't matter. Anyway, Donna, one of the female characters, and he just he's like, I guess, setting up a stage show, and he goes, I hope you brought a change of clothes because your eyes are about to piss tears. Just like put these lights on. It was just like, wow. It was very funny. It made me laugh a lot. But yeah, I've just been really enjoying that, and I've been like, oh, you know what, that was a good show.
Yeah, so there's certain shows that are definitely like worth a rewatch. I do Arrested Development maybe every like 4 years. I'll get back into that, and it just so clever. It is. It's great. Always holds up. If you're sad, watch Arrested Development.
Yes,
because it's like 30 Rock. Just this like, it's so fast almost that you can't. Yes, the jokes are just like flying by, and you get half of them, kind of thing.
And they're so like you know, like, and there's so many like amazing, like really weird subplots that are just like unexplained. Like the whole Carl Weathers as being his acting teacher, and like every time he's introduced, it like shows pictures of him and Predator like getting blown up, and he had a whole thing where he was like, he didn't like want to waste anything, so it would be at a party, and like somebody was throwing away some chicken bones. He goes, no, keep that. I'll take that home with me. Yeah, it was great. Such a good show. Love it.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think that is us at the end of our show. Could you let everybody know where they can find
You
us,
can find us
please?
at bendypodcast.com. And thanks to
Oh,
all who are
fancy.
watching our videos on Spotify, which feels
Yeah,
weird to say, but watching our videos
there you
on
go.
an audio platform.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Who do you think you
I
are?
know.
Wise guys watching videos on an audio platform. But yeah, I love it. Okay, guys. And in that case, as always, we'd like to remind you to
Stay
stay
bendy.
bendy.
I'm going to start
Right.
harmonizing that. All right. Love you guys.
Hello.
Bye, bye,
Bye. Love
bye,
you.
bye,
Bye.
bye.
Bye.